Hi, it's Guy DiMartino. Tonight I'd like to talk about some considerations that you want to think about when choosing a trustee for your Indiana trust. If you have a revocable trust and you are the settlor, odds are you're going to be the trustee. So what you're really thinking about is successor trustees. If you are unable to continue as a trustee because of a health consideration or after you pass away, how long you want your trust to go on. And so that consideration can be really difficult for folks. So here are some of the things that you might want to think about. The first is, how much property do you have? Do you just have a small amount of property and the purpose of your trust is just to avoid probate, so then the property is owned by the trust, and then after you pass away you want your beneficiaries or heirs to go ahead and get your property? If that's the case, it might not be very difficult to name a trustee, because it might just be one of your beneficiaries, maybe the person who's best with handling financial data and things along those lines. So an individual would be a good choice for a trustee in this situation. But what about if you're concerned about special needs kids, or a spouse that has a disability, or if you have a business and the trust has a high amount of equity in the business? And what happens if you want your trust to go on into perpetuity, or for a long period of time, to help support generations of your family? Let me give you a case in point of a trust that I just recently looked at. So the main asset in this trust was 78 or 80% of the stock in a corporation. So there was this business, and the primary stockholders were the trustees, and the trust became the primary stockholders in this corporation. And the goal of these folks was to have their beneficiaries, who would first be their children, and then their grandchildren, and then their great-grandchildren, to benefit or derive a benefit from the income. Only the income that the trust were to have. So the dividends from the corporation that they would get either on a quarterly or a yearly basis, if the corporation sold more stock out, income from that, for for some accounts that they would be getting interest and income from. But the settlers of the trust did not want the beneficiaries to dissipate or to decrease the actual property. So they were hoping that for generation after generation that they would be able to provide an income basis for their family members. In this situation, it would probably be best to have a professional trustee or a corporate trustee or a financial institution. One of the benefits of a financial institution or an outside trustee, these people do this for a living, and if it's a business, you don't have to deal with the emotional issues or the potential family issues. And a lot of times these bigger companies that manage trusts, they're insured, this is their job, they don't take it emotionally, they make decent decisions in order to help perpetuate the property so it can make income for generation upon generation. So that's, a benefit of having a business that is the trustee. There's downsides to that too. Sometimes they really don't understand the needs of the trust beneficiaries, and definitely if you have a company that acts as the trustee, it is much more expensive. The other potential issue with individuals being trustees, especially if the trustee is also a beneficiary, is that sometimes the other beneficiaries can get a little hinky. They can start worrying, is that person doing the right thing? And, because people worry about, other people who might be taking under the trust, whether there's greed or whether they're preserving assets or whether they're being aggressive enough and making the income or whether they're selling off the property for the proper price and things along those lines. So then you have all these family dynamics that might get into the trust situation and cause hard feelings. So my rule of thumb, or the advice that I give to a number of people, is if it's a smaller trust and the purpose of the trust is actually to just avoid probate and then have your property dispersed, and the trust will eventually be defunded and the trust will go away, then you can have somebody who's close to the situation. But if you want your trust to be like a business and go on for years and to make business-like decisions, you might want to consider a professional trustee or a fiduciary trustee, whether it's a bank trust department or some of these outside trustees. So there you have it. If you have any questions about an Indiana estate planning matter, you can always give me a call. I am Guy DiMartino. Have yourself a great day.